You're watching your toddler throw a massive tantrum, or your teenager suddenly shatter the peace by rebelling against every rule you've set. Your immediate instinct is to search for a fix. You reach for a discipline technique, a behavioral strategy, or a best-selling book that promises to stop the disruption and get your child back in line. Despite an entire industry built around parenting advice, modern families are reporting higher levels of anxiety, and a staggering number of children are struggling with their mental health. Many behavioral strategies fail because they are designed to solve the wrong problem. They look outward, obsessing over the child's actions, while the actual pressure point is often the parent's internal world. Clinical psychologist Dr. Shefali Tsabary suggests that the friction in a family is often fueled by a parent's own lack of awareness. We are frequently reacting to our own buried history, rather than the child standing in front of us. She points specifically to the parental ego, not as a sign of arrogance, but as a rigid, artificial image of who you think you should be. It is a persona constructed from beliefs and expectations you absorbed during your own childhood. To validate this fragile self-image, parents unwittingly treat their children as projects. We try to manage and mold them to fit our own needs, rather than letting them develop into their own unique people. What we label as misbehavior is often a child's natural response to this pressure. It is simply their spirit attempting to protect its own unique identity from a parent's attempt to control it. We bring our unhealed wounds, unmet expectations, and past traumas directly into the nursery. Many of us push our children to become miniature versions of ourselves, demanding they achieve the successes we missed or behave in ways that soothe our personal anxieties. This is projection. An adult casts a heavy shadow of emotional baggage, making the child's true identity invisible. But a child's difficult traits are perfectly calibrated to trigger your unhealed traumas. Your child acts as a guide, highlighting exactly where you need to grow. Consider Anya and her 14-year-old daughter, Jessica. For over a decade, Jessica was a fantastic student and the ideal, perfect daughter. Then she reached a breaking point. Within 2 years, Jessica began lying, stealing, and smoking. She grew rude and defiant, and eventually confided in a counselor about engaging in self-harm. Anya felt completely out of control. Deeply triggered by the sudden mood swings, she responded with uncontrollable rage, screaming at her daughter and using language that damaged their connection. Anya was reacting to a ghost from her own past. She grew up with cold parents and once endured a 2-hour silent punishment kneeling on the floor. To survive that environment, she buried her own anger and forced herself to be flawless. As a mother, Anya projected that same rigid demand for perfection onto Jessica, creating a high-pressure environment that gave the child no room to breathe. Jessica's rebellion wasn't an act of malice. She was expressing the very same repressed rage that her mother had been carrying since childhood. Jessica's behavior acted as a mirror, forcing Anya to finally confront her own resentment and heartache. By facing those wounds, Anya was able to release the demand for perfection and finally see her daughter as a real person. Moving toward conscious parenting requires a total surrender of the need to dominate. It means letting go of the self-image you've spent a lifetime building so you can truly see your child. This shift replaces the vertical, top-down hierarchy of the parent governing the child. It is reforming into a continuous, rotating loop where both parent and child are partners in the same process of development. In this model, you move away from conditional approval. Instead of validating your kids for what they do, the grades or the trophies, you celebrate them simply for who they are. Freeing a child from the constant need for your approval builds an internal sense of rightness. It gives them the emotional sturdiness to navigate their lives with confidence. These concepts become clear in small moments. Imagine a young girl waking her mother in excitement to show off a $1 bill left by the tooth fairy, which she has proudly torn in half so both her parents can share the money. A parent's immediate, ego-driven instinct is to scold, to lecture the child about the value of currency and the fact that a torn note is now worthless. But the mother made a conscious pivot. She shelved the financial lesson and instead chose to validate the child's immense generosity and sense of fairness. By choosing connection over a rigid lesson, she surrendered her need to be the expert in order to honor the child's true spirit. We spend enormous amounts of energy trying to shape a perfect child, but that effort is misplaced. As the text suggests, the primary purpose of the parent-child relationship is actually the transformation of the parent. When you heal your own past and shed the need to control, you give your child the ultimate gift, the freedom to exist entirely as themselves.